Welcome to another episode of Chef Knives to Go Quick Look Product Reviews. I'm Steve Gamache, and what we have is the Harukaze VG-10 Tsuchime or hammered petty 80mm knife. So the way these are made is they have an all stainless construction. So you've got multiple layers of soft stainless cladding. You can see those layers showing where the knife gets ground down towards the edge. And a hard stainless cutting edge center core steel. The core steel is VG-10 full stainless steel. Heat treats about 60 Rockwell on that core steel. And as we've seen, we've got a stainless cladding, multi-layer stainless cladding over that with a hammered pattern and a multi-layer construction that shows through when it's ground down. So it's got a lot aesthetically going on. Weight and dimensions can vary just a little bit from knife to knife, but this particular one is 74 grams or 2.6 ounces, and the edge length is about 83 millimeters or 3¼ inches. The overall length is about 7.6 millimeters, and these are fairly thick for the size of the blade. So I've got about 1.8, 1.85 spine thickness. Come on, camera. All the way through, and they're not super skinny at the tip, so this has a little bit of meat to it, you can see. And again, very short knife height wise, so we'll do this, but you can see it's got quite a bit of meat to it because it's a fairly thick blade for this size knife. The blade height is 22.2. This is really, it's a petty. Also, you could say it's a paring knife as well. The handle, they label it as rosewood. It's a little bit more on the brown side, so you could almost say, is it a rosewood or is it walnut? But you can see that. We have a full tang stainless construction here, stainless tang. All the way through the handle, we have stainless rivets and what's known as a pinned-on bolster going into the blade. Let's see here. Let's get our beauty shot here. A little tricky. It's got a little bit of polish to it, so it's a little tricky sometimes to get a good look here. So let's get a close-up of that. You do have some laser engraved kanji, if we can get that to show up. There it is. So there's some laser engraved kanji there. You got some random hammer patterns, your layers, your core steel. Left side of the blade has no markings on it, but again, you got the hammered pattern and that right there. So this is, again, a small petty, or you could even classify it as a paring knife if you wanted to. So, from it, the balance point's going to be way back here, as you might guess from a handle like this and a very small blade. Fit and finish is good. They've got a little bit of relief on the spine corners and a little bit on the choil here, so it's pretty comfortable. It's a fairly coarse edge from a grit perspective, but it's a pretty sharp edge. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 on my edge kind of scale. It definitely will get sharper if you want to put some stones to it and get a little higher grit going on it. Fairly stiff blade, as we mentioned. I'm not really going to do a cutting board thing because it's just a very, very short knife. But from a handling perspective, with a paring knife or a small petty like this, you can pinch it here, right in front of the bolster. You can put your finger up there if you're trying to do, stuff with the tip, hulling strawberries, or, whatever kind of task you're going to do with this size of a knife, or pair things, like that. So there's a lot of different ways. Paring means peeling. So if you're going to peel an apple or, some kind of fruit with it, you can do that. So again, you've got a variety of ways you can hold this blade depending on what you're doing with it. But the handle's big enough where you can get a good grip on it. It's not super tiny. So I think it works pretty well. Again, you can choke up, you can pull back here. There's a lot you can do with this blade. So nice looking, nicely made blade with all stainless construction and good core steel. This is the Harukaze VG-10 Tsuchime or hammered petty 80mm knife.